Welcome to another episode of Creating Magic. I'm Paula.
And I'm Danny.
And today we are joined once again with Angel, our official ACOTAR correspondent. And we have Chanel back on the pod.
And I get to talk.
And Danny can talk today. So I want you guys to tell me a little bit about yourselves. And we'll start with Chanel. Tell us where we can find you on the socials and your pronouns, and then tell us a little bit about yourself.
I also want to know, since we have finished the series thus far, your favorite book.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Wow.
I want to add that in there.
All right. Well, my name is Chanel. I'm she, her, and you guys can find me on my Instagram, Fandom Gal, which is a little shout out to loving fandoms and my culture. I am Belizean, so that's like a thing that we say to each other. And my social media has been kind of all over the place. I was a Harry Potter girly, and now Kindle has taken over my life. ACOTAR is my life. I'm in the Mossverse, and that's where we are right now.
Chanel has been doing these amazing little casting videos, and I love them. I feel like she's spot on for like so many of them. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of drama around Resand.
A lot.
All
right, Angel.
All right, hi, I'm Angel. You can find me on Instagram at Wizard of Main Street. And yeah, I'm a teacher, and I read, and I try to game when I'm not doing schoolwork. And my favorite book out of the series, the favorite book out of the series. Well, Chanel, do you want to share?
No, you go first.
Okay, I'm kind of torn between the second one, A Court of Mist and Fury, the War, so the Wings and Ruin, and the last one. I think I'm gonna go with Court of Wings and Ruin.
Ooh.
I think I'm gonna go with A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Chanel.
Okay, so totally forgot to say that. But I am still, this is gonna shock a lot of people because I love Cassian. I just want to say that from the jump. But I am a Mist and Fury girl. Number one, it just captured my heart, the emotions. And then number two for me is Silver Flames. And then ACOWAR. Those are my top three.
We don't need to talk about the other ones.
Yeah, the other ones were irrelevant.
And
Actually,
Paula,
not. The first one wasn't
Mist and
irrelevant.
Fury?
Oh, Mist and Fury, 100%. Chapter 54.
So is it a Mist and Fury or just chapter 54?
No, it's Mist and Fury. I've actually listened to it a couple times, like since I finished reading it, like the dramatized version, and I just love it so much.
I love that. I have a chapter 54 bracelet for you.
Yeah.
I think it's in the other room. It's always in the other room.
Danny, you've said time and time your favorite is the fifth, right?
Yes. Silver
Yeah.
Flames. I stand by it. Not because
Why is it your favorite?
It has not. I can read that book without the spicy stuff and still love that book because I love Nesta. I love the character development of Nesta, and I love a good character arc, and it provides it, and you see her reasoning, and I love their girlfriendship that they have going on. I love Gwen and Emery. I've been waiting all series long. You guys would ask questions about like other characters, and I'm just like, can't wait until they meet Gwen and Emery because they're my faves.
Yeah, I really do like Gwen and Emery. I just think, I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but the whole aspect of Gwen and Emery versus Sarah and Elaine, I think that's something people don't like to talk about a lot because it's Nesta in the middle, and then she has her sisters. She chose
and her sisters.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't find that to be a thing.
I find it to be a thing.
I don't think that's a thing. I have a sister, her and we talk fine, but like she's not my best friends. I'm flying this weekend and in a few more weeks to see my best girlfriends. And I love my sister, but I love my girls.
Yeah. I have a little sister. I love her too.
Yeah, mine's older.
I just find it interesting.
Middle child.
Two of them and two of them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
A trio's always a good set.
But who's getting the Bat Boys though? Or the last one, I guess. Right? Because the other two are
sister is
taken.
gonna fight for him.
I know who
Come
I
on.
want to get one of the Bat Boys.
Yeah.
Maybe Danny, you can tell us why you think I didn't pick up where did you pick up Gwyn and Asriel tension or something? Is it in the bonus chapter?
There's
I'm not
no
sure.
there's no tension or anything. Like it's just I like them together better. I like their interactions. I just enjoy their interactions together and I feel like they're a better fit. And I just
Yeah.
really don't care for Elaine.
I also don't care for Elaine. I don't think Elaine belongs with Asriel, but I don't know why. I was just curious about your reasoning for Gwyn.
I just like it.
Yeah.
I just like it. It's her. It's who she ships.
I also love Valkyries. Like y'all, when I first read it, I was reading it and some other friends had already finished it, and it was the part where this it's not the scribe, that's Fourth Wing. The research lady in the library
Meryl.
mentions the Valkyries. And then so there was something in that moment, like Nesta's not even there yet. I go, oh my God, is Nesta gonna be a Valkyrie? And I got really excited.
That's what I did when I was like, oh my God, when she talked about it, I was like, is Nesta a Valkyrie?
I was so freaking excited for that.
I love that journey for them, for all three of them, and how it came about.
Mm-hmm. And bringing back something that no longer existed, like, and doing it in their own way and figuring it out.
Well, that's why I fell in love with Gwen. I just feel like when she cut the ribbon,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Gwen, and then my heart broke when she told her story
Mm-hmm.
of when
Oh my God.
when Asriel found her.
Yeah.
My heart broke for her, but I was so angry. I was like, oh my God. Like,
And it's
I
like
would have
one of
been
those
in there
things
too.
where like you heard about that in the earlier books.
Mhm.
It was mentioned and you like wrote it off, and now you're interacting with a character and you're like, oh my goodness.
And we kind of heard, like, obviously what happened to like priestesses or the temples through
Who must not be named
Janet.
the other Janet.
And we kind of heard from her, right? But I feel like it was said so quickly for her to kind of play
with her. When we heard about it, I think because of her character, we're just like, oh, we don't like them. Like we naturally, because we don't like her, that we naturally like, we don't like things she's associated, even though through the books they were like, this is not how all of them are. But that's what we associated with what we knew.
I had a question about the Valkyries. Are they supposed to be higher? Because there's a name for what Cassian and Asriel and Rhys are for conquering the blood, right? What was the name of the?
No, the levels.
The levels. They have some level for reaching Ramiel.
Yeah.
But the Valkyries are above that, right? That's what I understood.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're above that level. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was cool.
And they're both.
She's like, yeah.
I just love the story of the Valkyries, that they were willing to fight to death. Literally, like, we're protecting this, we're protecting these people. We know
they get Pegasuses.
Yeah,
Pegasuses.
Pegasi.
That's funny.
Speaking of Pegasus, Helion, however you say his name, I love him. I really do. I love his character. He just gives me like, he's someone that you would meet in person and just like, you'd just be scared by his energy. He'd look at you and smile and you'd just be like, oh my God, what just happened?
Well, doesn't the book describe him as more as he'd smile at you and you'd be in the bedroom the next thing? Is that?
Well, in other words. In other words. But
she was trying to keep it PG, Angel.
This book is anything but PG.
I will say that. I said it on my stories. This book, I was so used to the she swore, he swore, the vulgar gesture, and then this went full out Joe Pesci. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, what happened here?
Can we talk about one of my favorite characters of this entire
Always. You're allowed to talk today.
Yes.
Who's your favorite character, Danny? I don't know.
She said it already.
No,
I'm gonna throw a curveball because this is another favorite character in this book. The House.
Yes.
Oh yes,
The
Nesta is
house
the
had
bestie.
me so confused. I originally thought it was like Feyre or Reese like providing.
I didn't think it was
I
them.
didn't either.
I
Mm-mm.
did. I was like, oh, this is like Feyre taking care of her,
Mm.
like in my head, right? And then there's and then I don't remember reading it about it again, is that Cassian was like, oh, I have to remember to ask Reese if the house is sentient, right? But I don't think he ever asks him.
No,
And I was like, that's like one of my unanswered questions. I was like, oh, but when she goes, can we go there? Like when she goes down and
The
like goes to
stairs.
see down there or
Oh, you're
whatever.
talking about the heart?
Yeah. Is it this? And this is one of those things that I didn't understand. Is it her?
It's not her, but she did create it.
Okay.
well,
So
yeah,
it's
because
connected to
she
her.
needed
Yes.
something, right? Like she needed a friend. She needed
Yes.
someone to understand her with everything that she was going through, and this house just happened to like fill that void for her.
Well, and it's not necessarily the house filled the void, is that because of her wanting, because of the power that she inherited through the cauldron, she then created what she needed.
Stole.
So
That
she didn't steal it. They threw her in there.
She
I
ate.
think
Oh, that's right. She did eat it.
like steel is strong because she was forced into it and she just decided to take charge of what she could out of the situation. She was like, well, if I'm here, I'm taking it all.
I love how they describe that moment in this book. Like we understood that she took something, right? Because that's what they kept saying. Like she took
Mhm.
it, she was made. But in this book, we got the description of what she did. Like she bit a piece of it. She went down. She was fighting. She did not care. She's like, if you're doing this to me, I'm doing this to you. Like she's
Yeah.
just ruthless when it came to that moment, and I appreciate that.
Makes her a great Valkyrie. Like it all ties in. She's a fighter. Um, One of the things that like hit me hard reading this book is when like I think it was this one at least is when she like admitted it might have been the last one where she talked about how she couldn't be in a bathtub.
Yeah.
She had admitted that in book 3.
Is that
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wings and
book
Ruin,
3.
right?
Yeah, and I was wondering, it's so funny because I had put a comment in there. I was like, did that ever get
And we
addressed?
talked
It
about it. You're
never.
like, hey, wait a second. I don't think this ever got addressed. But at
Yeah.
the beginning of this one, when she goes to get in the tub, she talks about how like how hard it is for her
Mhm.
Or the
to like
fire.
sit in it
Fireplaces.
and
The fire? That was another big one. Like,
yeah.
oof.
And the house warmed her when she needed it.
And read smutty books.
Yeah.
And read smutty books. I love their little book club.
Yes, I love that. But the house was really a sweet moment for me. And that's why, like, with certain books like this, I circle back to, like, if they did make an animation or a show or anything like that, how are you making that, like, an authentic part of the story? Because to me, that's important. I feel like it's important to see Nesta in the house and
Yes,
have them
you
interact
can't
like that.
exclude the house.
Yeah.
That is an integral part of the story.
I also think it's interesting to see how people feel about Nesta, even after reading this book.
Like
Obviously,
Trisha.
obviously she's difficult, right? And
Yeah.
it's interesting when I read the first book and then we got to the end of the second book, I was like, wait, this is Nesta? This is Elaine? Like, I was just like, wait. We're going back to the sisters. Like, they're going to be like an important part of this whole story. Um, but yeah, Nesta in the first book, I was like, oh my God, if I had a sister like this, she'd be catching hands.
She
And I
was
felt
not
like that.
easy to like. She was unlikable.
I
And
mean,
then
she
even
still
if
is.
yeah, but I
She
think I
still is.
understand it more,
But you can
right? Because
understand her is the difference. And it
it's
just,
Sabrina's
it's not
mad dogging me
excusing
across
her
the room.
behavior. Because like Trisha kept saying, like, well, just because you're traumatized doesn't give you the right to be like a jerk or whatever. And I was like, no, you're right. But you can still look at it and be like, okay, this girl's been through it.
yeah. Well, and it's also like, and she mentions it, like the relationship with her mother, she was literally forced to like hide all of her feelings. Like that was
Yeah.
part of her growing up is that she essentially just bottled everything because she was supposed to appear to be this very proper, prim lady that was expected to marry into the certain status. Where Pharaoh was, as like they've said, is the wild child. She just kind of like roamed the world. Like she was.
Well, 'cause she was the youngest. She was the youngest. But also, I think a lot of people, because I've read comments about it and like seen different things, they're like, you went through stuff too, Nesta, but so did everyone else in the Night Court. So they're kind of like, we've all
Yeah,
gone
but everybody
through
else
traumas.
had someone to turn to.
Except Hamlin.
But yeah, I understand.
Sabrina's
And then
looking
I
at
also think that we tap into like how we deal with things, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that are like, okay, you're an adult. There's ways for you to deal with things and you're dealing with it this way. And then there's some people that have that care and understanding about it. So I'm like neutral with Nesta. She wouldn't be my best friend. I'll tell you that. But
We're also saying like, oh, they're adults. They're really not. They're barely in their 20s.
Right. How old's Feyre? Like 21 or something? She just turned 21 or what?
she turned 21.
But
And
when
she's
this
the youngest.
started, like,
Yeah.
you a baby.
And I still don't care for Nesta. I mean, like I said with you, like I sent you a message like I understand her, I sympathize with her, I understand all that. I love a good character arc too. But she's still a B. Like she's rude. She's rude. She's rude.
I understand her.
She's rude. She's rude.
Well,
so am I. I get
you
her.
see all this, like, because I'm like big into astrology. You see all these things. She's always in Aries. I'm an Aries, and I could be that too. I'm not giving you second chances. I could be a B, but it's a story, and I understand why people go there with her because they're like, Emery's been through things, Gwen's been through things, everyone's been through some sort of trauma, right? Like the Night Court, the Valkyries. So they see Nesta as like that older sister who should have done this XYZ, and she has guilt about that. Obviously, we read the book. She feels bad about letting Farrah go with Tamlin. She feels bad about everything,
letting her go hunt for food.
Yeah. So obviously she grows, she changes, she's starting to love herself, because that's a big theme in this book too. Like she really just hated herself.
Yeah.
I know.
There's also something to say for when you find the group of people who, because like we are very much aware they all went through trauma. None of them talked about it with her until she met Gwen and Emery. And they didn't ever have they didn't have any counselors. She finally found people who had experienced things themselves and were willing to let each of them process in their own time. And by doing that, it allowed all of them to process together, even though all their traumas are very different.
And that's where we could talk about Cassian. The patience this man has. And I think a lot of people, I don't know if they'd be surprised or not, but look at the name that they call him, right? He's the general of the military. He's supposed to be this brute, this hard person that just fights and kills. And then when
I think he is. He's just not with her.
Well, with his friends as well, right? So when he's with the Night Court, or even when he's training the priestesses or Emery, he's a totally different person. And then there's Nesta. She could say anything she wants to this man. She could hit him. She could push him away. I mean, look at what she used her promise for. She was like, just leave me alone. And he still, that's his mate.
I like to tell people to just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone.
I'm trying to find something I highlighted about Nesta, and I just cannot find it.
It's because this book is so damn big.
I know. But it's a moment that she had with the ladies. Right before they were taken for the blood rite.
Is it the bracelet thing?
Amazing. Yeah, maybe it is the bracelet thing. But
when they had their over-the-top sleepover?
Yes.
With a baby Pegasus and all the food?
I love that moment with them. It really made me happy. And then just
all hell broke loose.
Blood rite. Ugh. I just love that moment of survival and fighting and I'm getting my sister. I don't care if I have to kill all these guys. I'm going to do what I need to do. I just love that. That was my favorite moment.
I loved, back to Cassian, I really liked, even during the intervention.
Yeah.
When they started to like hate on her a little bit, he was like, "Whoa." And then Azriel kind of like jumped in to like, hey, chill. I think it was Amryn that said something to her, and Azriel was like, that's enough. You're hurting my brother's feelings.
Yeah, like you're taking this
So cute.
Yeah, Amryn and Nessa's relationship is what, like, I love the way that ended at the end of the book because I'm like, you guys can't be mad at each other. Come on now.
You're besties.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the end towards the end because I have some thoughts.
So I have a question about I can't remember what's the name of the creature that Cassian caught into the
Lanthus,
something like that. That one, the one who showed like even the bone carver and all of these like beings from other realms, dimensions, or whatever, older than Prithian, said that, oh, we know who Nesta is and things like that. Did they mean in the sense of like this Valkyrie type of character arc that she grew into, or did they mean something else?
I think this is personal opinion. I think they meant that they could see the death magic in her.
Yeah.
Oh, the silver flame death magic. Okay.
Yeah, because like it's something that was seen previously. So
he asked her which death god she was.
Yeah.
That whole
so they recognize, and this is something that comes up in Crescent City, is that there's, without like spoilers, the generations, they can like identify whose type of magic, like which line of magic it came from, and like the royalty line, and they're like, oh, your magic is from this line, not this line. And that's what makes me think is that they're seeing like the line of the death magic and where it came from.
And okay, then I have a follow-up question. Is the death magic, I mean, I guess this is all like, I don't know.
A follow-up question to your own question?
Yeah. Is the death magic all the people who can wield the dead trove, can only be death god line magic, so to speak, people?
Danny's scanning her head to see if she says it.
Or
if it's a spoiler. She's like,
or if it's answered, or if they have to be made. Is that what you said, Chanel?
Yeah, or like something with the cauldron, like the cauldron allows.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily is the type of like death magic. But I think you have to have enough like power to be able to wield them so that they don't overwhelm you.
So what
Did
do we
anyone else think of the mask when she put on the mask, like the movie with the green?
The movie, yes.
Wait, what movie? Oh, you're talking about the mask. Okay, yes.
I like that whole moment really like stressed me out when she was in
under the water,
drowning
with the freaking Kelpie that, when described, did not look like my Kelpie. I'm just saying. I was thinking like cute seaweed monster from Fantastic Beasts. Nope.
This is what I do when I read.
So many moments where it's like when they described like that he like went to like kiss her and the tape. I was like, it was horrible.
I like to look things up when I read one of these characters. That's what I do. Like I'll type it in so I could see like an image or like fan art, something. And I was like, I wanted to throw up. It makes me nauseous now. Legitly nauseous. And the fact that she was underwater. But I mean, again, another moment with Nesta and her power and like everything happening.
I was going to say, even Nesta and her power, that Kelpie is disgusting enough or scary enough that it made Nesta piss her pants.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so whatever she saw, or that tension magic, whatever, because the Kelpie, I think, is one of those creatures from Prithian that's old, right?
Yeah.
Right? So an old thing. And I don't know, I can't remember if the Naga or something.
I think everything in Prithian is old.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look old. But again, the smelling thing, I don't think I'll ever get over that. The like scent thing. When they went looking for her, he could tell that she pissed her pants. I was like, this is so weird. Like, why is this necessary?
It's a choice.
It is a choice.
Wait, a choice to smell, or what do you mean? Like
the
a choice to heighten their senses?
Or
Is
a
that what you
choice
mean?
to say that, oh, I smell this. Like,
yeah,
Oh,
like the
you know, every 5 seconds.
the watery bowels.
Yeah, but Azriel, can we talk about how Azriel had to let it be known, like, yo, I just smelled that you guys did it in here.
I love that when he was like, I think I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm trying to eat dinner here.
Like, did you wait right outside the door? Like, what's going on, Az? He was funny. He actually, Azriel in this book, aside from like, you know, the story with Gwen and him like doing his spying, like I feel like his moments with Cassian were just so like I loved him and Cassian in this book the most.
Like he doesn't say a lot, but what he said was like memorable and like quippy, you know, like I know what you're doing, bro. Do you need a chaperone?
And I can't remember. Is it Gwen or Emery who always tries to get Nesta to say she's had sex with Cassian?
I think it's Emery.
Oh, okay.
Emery,
I don't think it's Gwen.
It feels like
Gwen
Emery because Gwen started out very much like shocked
Gwen's the
by what they
innocent-
were reading.
Yeah, she's
like,
the innocent one.
Yeah.
Remember they gave her the tame book and she was like, if this is tame, I'm scared to read that.
Because I just think it would have been funny.
I think that's people's experiences with like Fourth Wing is that they read Fourth Wing and they're like, they've never read smut. And then someone's like, let me give you an actual smutty book. Like that's the scene that goes in my head when I hear people tell me stories of like being around people who are actual smut readers versus reading things like Fourth Wing and ACOTAR before Silver Flames.
Yeah, Fourth Wing. I mean, not to like pivot, but yeah, you need to read it. There's some good stuff in there.
We're gonna give Paula the space just like Cassian gave Nesta space.
Yeah, give me
Paula,
space.
you
I don't think I'm ready.
I don't want
read
to
it
force
and-
Paula to read it because I want her to read it when she will enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
And as a mood reader, I understand not being able to get into a book.
And Paula, we know when you do read it, you will enjoy it. Maybe not as much
We'll
as
see.
maybe not as much as A Court of Mist and
I'm
Fury.
going to tell you,
but
I
you will
am
enjoy
very skeptical of.
She doesn't like parapets.
I don't like parapets. So I can't like Fourth Wing because they say it. I'm telling you, I only got through a couple chapters in the audiobook and they said it like 20 times. So I was like, what the hell? And all I could think about was that word is in a lyric from Hamilton. And I was like, Danny, what the F is a parapet? And then she described it to me and I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, every time it came up, I kept thinking of the Hamilton song. Anyway, back. This is how we end up with a 3-hour episode.
Back to the House of Wind.
Back to the House of Wind.
How long do you think? Oh wait, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, how long do you think it actually takes to walk 10,000 steps?
Oh my goodness.
Because
let me tell you something.
When she went,
about
like,
the
this is what
steps.
I don't understand how she went down, and she's like, "Oh, I'm tired. Let me go back up. Let me skip over the whole."
How is going up easier? I would have
So
died.
on
I would've-
average,
right there.
it
Yeah.
takes about 2.5 hours to get your like daily 10,000 steps on flat land in. That's not staircases.
Girl, there ain't no way.
There ain't no way.
I would have been in that house with my
I'd have been
best
sleeping
in the
on those
house.
steps. When I get tired, I'm not going back up. I'm gonna sleep on that step right there.
Maddie and I had a moment where we saw on TikTok someone try to do the Nesta challenge, is what they call it, on the step machine.
Right at the gym.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
I can't even last a minute, y'all.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, did she finish? And
Girl, I
and I
can't
think
even
on
do
the
a
step
minute.
machine is not the same because on the step machine you're walking straight. The steps there, they were in a spiral, and I think
Yeah.
that's originally I was like, oh, this is what's getting her is that she's like, you know, you're going around in a circle. I was getting dizzy just reading the
Have you ever been at
around and
Sapphire Falls?
around
They
and
have that
around.
spiral staircase, and it might be 30 steps, and it kills me every time because I get dizzy.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I am claustrophobic, and like, how
I was
close?
thinking just that, Chanel.
How close?
Exactly.
Because I would just.
I
Be
think
like,
it's pretty close because she was able to like hold onto the wall and hold the center.
Nope.
Sometimes, so
Yeah, definitely
Throw up.
not. Yeah, 100 steps down, I'd be like, "This is a little cramped in here."
I mean, look, I'm sorry, Farah. I'm sorry, everyone. I
Honestly,
won't-
do you think people like during like that type of time period had claustrophobia because that's just how everything was made, and you were kind of screwed?
Well, I'd be screwed. I wouldn't live past
I was like, I'd be out.
You would think I don't know if this is you would think if Nesta can make a house friend and magic coin bracelets and magic swords that she could maybe make a pair of wings.
But the point wasn't about finding another way down. The point was about going through the challenge.
Right. I'm just saying. I think I was surprised she wasn't able to fly.
What's that song Miley Cyrus sings, The Climb?
Yeah.
That's all that came to my mind when Danny started saying that. I was like, it's the climb.
When she was late to the well, not the solstice party, what was it? The Starfall party?
The Starfall party.
Starfall ball.
She ran up the stairs. Are you kidding me?
I'd have been like,
and then she went to the party like that.
I'm late. I'm sorry.
I'm late. I'm not getting dressed. This is how you're getting me.
There is something that happens at the Starfall ball. And I can't wait till we discuss it again.
Wait, hold on.
Huh?
What happened?
Wait.
I don't know. What are we talking about?
In another book?
What it is.
In another book?
Oh, is that what those starfalls are? So those little things flying by, is it related to another book? That's what it is. Right, Danny?
She can't tell us. That's it. Just turn off your camera.
Turn off your camera. Turn off your camera.
I cannot wait to have this discussion because I remember having like a moment.
Wait, Danny, when are we having this discussion in the Throne of Glass series or in?
I will not disclose that information.
You see,
okay.
I have to look it up.
Evil.
I'm gonna look it up after this.
And message me.
Sure
I will
is.
tell you separately, but I will not tell the group chat.
Yeah, don't tell me either.
Well, hold on. What about who's your favorite? Wait, we've always asked Paula how she feels about Lucian. How do you feel about Lucian now that you're done?
He was like almost non-existent. What the hell was he doing in the training ring?
Irrelevant.
Sir, you don't belong here.
Yeah, I love that meme where they're like Lucian's thinking about Azriel's wingspan.
Why?
Because everyone ships Elaine and Azriel.
Not Danny.
Yeah, not me either. Not me either.
I don't either. I don't like Elaine and Azriel. I just don't, it's not for me.
I don't like it either, but I think there's something there.
I need more information. This is where what I will say on it. I don't necessarily not like it, but I need more information on both characters to decide because we really don't have the information to know who they are outside of what others see them as.
So I have a question for you.
In Silver Flames, we see a little bit different side of Azriel because we are seeing him through the perspective of Cassian and not Feyre.
I have a question for you, Danny, for you. Since you read the bonus chapter, do you think that the bonus chapters don't count?
I don't like the bonus chapter. So this was the first time I read the bonus chapter.
That's not what I asked you. Do you think they don't count?
Because they were written by the author,
Paula?
I don't think they don't count. I don't think it's right to discount something that was written by the creator of the series.
Okay.
So it's canon. Are you asking Paula if the bonus chapters are canon? Yeah. Okay.
I need more information.
But Danny is saying it is canon.
Does it add to the story? Like
I don't like how it does. We
can talk about it.
What happens in the bonus chapter? I don't care. Tell me.
Okay, so a quick synopsis is there's a Feyre and Rhys POV.
Okay.
And it's very Feyre and Rhys. There's no story there.
It's banter.
They go into the studio and
into
they do
the sky.
That's it. One and done. But it's like 3 pages long. Anyway, then there is an Azriel and Elaine situation after winter solstice, correct, Danny? Where was it her that waited or him? It was her. It was him, right? He waited until afterwards to give her this gift, right? So he gave her this gift, and it was a necklace that had a rose on it, right?
Yeah, it's like a rose pendant.
It's like a flower. And then she has him put it on her, and while he's putting it on her, he's having feelings, but not feelings.
Like physical, not emotional.
Physical, not emotional. And they get to a point where it's they're this close to
and Rhysand interrupts.
Period.
And he has Azriel come back to
He lectures him.
and tells him
Don't do it. Which also
don't
felt
do it.
very like not. This is my problem with the bonus chapters. To me, they felt very out of character for the majority of the characters they were about. Like Rhysand does, I'm like, that doesn't feel right. And then how like, I don't know, a lot of it just didn't feel right to me.
I am happy he did it.
So he lectures him, but wait, there's more. So he lectures him, tells him, "Don't do that." Da, 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 and he goes back downstairs.
We should have
Elena's
said
gone.
spoiler warning at the beginning. We realized we didn't say spoiler warning, but I
Well,
guess
we
doesn't
did
matter.
say we're going to discuss the chapter,
Right.
so I felt
That's
like
true.
we didn't have
Yeah.
to say that.
Um,
And if you're listening
So-
to this, it's Silver Flame, so spoiler.
Hey, spoiler.
the necklace is like back in the box. Basically, she left it there. Like,
She took
so
it
he
off.
takes it back. He takes it back, and then
Goes to the House of Wind.
he goes to the House of Wind, and he goes to the ring, and Gwen is there
Trying to cut the ribbon.
trying to cut the ribbon.
because she knew everyone was supposed to be gone.
Oh, so this was mid Silver Flames,
Yeah.
the winter solstice that is described
Yeah.
in Silver
Yeah.
Flames.
Correct.
This is right before she cuts the ribbon.
Wow.
So she's there practicing whatever. They have like a little like chat. There's like I didn't feel
They had some
anything there.
snarky conversation.
Yeah.
It was great. I love snarky conversation, and he
Yeah.
kind of helped her to figure out how to cut the ribbon.
So then she leaves, right? And he goes down to the library to give this part pissed
This
me
one
off.
just feels wrong.
Yeah. And he left the necklace for Gwen.
Oh my.
With like the person in
That's-
charge, and then told her
Yeah.
like, don't let her know it wasn't that it was from me.
Then let her know it was from me.
Oh no.
Well, now
no,
I'm glad I
no.
didn't read the bonus chapter. It does.
So
I
here's
do agree
my
with
thing.
Danny. It seems out of character, especially for Azriel.
But we
Yeah,
don't know
the
that
whole
much
thing
about-
does feel like out of character. It really does. To me, it was like getting the Azriel bays to like she was feeding the Azriel bays.
They were
that's what I
trying to
think.
create a love triangle in this chapter. That was like the point
Yeah.
of this like bonus chapter was to like straight up say here's a love triangle outside of
Yeah.
like just fan like speculation. It was like, here, I'm giving you a love triangle.
Enjoy,
Yeah, I definitely feel that she was just
dear reader.
she was just trying to feed into the Azrael people and then like create this drama.
I just didn't like it.
But that
And we
just
never heard about the necklace again.
We never hear about that. But what about if it comes up in another book? All I keep thinking about is what about if Gwen is wearing the necklace and Elaine is like, "You
That's
necklace."
fine. He gave it to me.
Elaine won't say anything.
You don't think she'll say anything?
I don't know. Didn't Nesta say, "Oh, look who found her voice"?
To her sister, yes, but to a stranger, maybe not.
That scene was so
messy,
awkward.
Yeah, that one was rough.
Elaine is
glad
still
I didn't read
useless.
it.
Elaine is still useless.
Like, speaking of which, just jumping ahead a little, but we're talking about them all right now. Who do you want the next book's perspective to be from?
Wait, before Sarah J. Maas had her little, spoiler kind of teaser post that she was writing in the north somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I want it to be Gwen.
So I have this. I think it's gonna be Elaine and Azriel to me because it makes sense, right? Not necessarily Elaine and Azriel together. I'm just saying Elaine and Azriel, like their stories, because the first books follow Feyre and then you got Nesta. It only makes sense that the next one would be about Elaine.
There's so much unknown about Elaine. Like,
Yeah.
the extent is we just don't enjoy her, but there's so much unknown that I feel like there's something else there.
I don't know. I don't really care to know more about Elaine. I'm really
What if the
curious to
theory
hear
is
more
true
about-
and she's actually a villain?
Maybe.
Ooh.
Like, you're gonna have to tell me more about the.
Honestly-
Okay, hold on. What is
That
this?
would make it
I have
interesting,
another-
though.
I have another theory question. What's the theory? Can you tell us, Danny? What is this
I
theory?
don't remember the full theory, but I know there's like a theory, and a lot of it comes from people just want to hate Elaine. So they're like, maybe she's a villain, but like, I don't like personally, I don't like diving into theories and like the reasoning behind them. because I like experiencing a book on my own without others people's information in my head. But the idea that she could be a villain, and there's a much bigger theory, and that one I cannot go into with you guys because you do not have all the information yet. And so please don't research the theory, because part of that theory is related to things you will learn in Throne of Glass.
Oh.
And they think that, then that's why people think they're going to be able to cross over, is the theory that they have with Elaine is how you could you can get Throne of Glass and ACOTAR connected to it.
Do we find out in this first book, or not until the end, of course?
Curious to find out.
It's not until the end, but I think there are hints dropped, but we don't have all the information in book 1 to put it together. Once we get to it in Throne of Glass, I will bring it up and explain and share the information with you.
Okay.
So I would love if Elaine was a villain. I just feel like that would be a good mix, especially like with the way we're going with the sisters. It's like one sister story. She ends up with an Illyrian, handsome, tall, amazing man.
Hi, Lord.
Another sister
Dark
story.
Poppy.
She ends up with another, you know what I mean? Like we need a little something to mix it up. And so
I kind of want it to be like an Elaine and Az story, and then except that they don't end up together. And like maybe there's someone else out there that we just don't know about. Because I still feel that like Az is very like brotherly protective of her.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate a story about Moore. Because where is she? Where is she?
I want to
She's
know
been
what I want to
MIA.
know.
I'm wondering if
One
we'll
of
get
my
like a more
questions-
novella.
One of my unanswered questions is what the F happened in that forest that
In the
Eris is
ranch?
like, oh, well, you don't know the whole truth.
yeah,
I
Yep.
want to know the
Yes.
truth.
Yeah.
I want to
And
know the truth.
I hope that the next book is more about Moore's story and maybe a little bit of background about Eris, because there's something there we don't know. And that's way more interesting to me than Elaine.
Literally.
There are like, and I don't like this theory at all. It's been too long. I'm not a fan of it. That the next book will be a novella. And if it's a novella, I could see a novella following Moore's story and then picking back up with Elaine and Asriel afterwards.
I mean, in that case, I would like it. Like if it was about Moore. I love Moore, and I do think we need to dive deeper into that moment with her
Yes.
and Eris. And also, like, I love to hate Eris. Like, there's something about him, like their purpose, like she's not writing something about him. There's like this missing piece to that puzzle with him. And I really want to get, so that's really good, Angel. I think that's smart.
And I mean, and Eris is the one delaying the Moore's father's visit to the Night Court, or I mean
Mhm.
the Polaris. So I don't know. I think there's something there. Part of me thought maybe like I was wondering, this goes back into kind of like the whole Fae relationship mating bond thing. Like I was curious if Eris and Moore were mates and Moore denied the bond. You know, like that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm not sure. And
It's so weird to not have Danny turn off the camera. I just
yeah.
So, since we just
But
talked
then-
about this extra chapter, in this bonus chapter, when Rhysand is scolding our dear friend Asriel, he mentions Moore in it, which just like pisses me off more.
yeah.
Because like
Like,
we
what
already
about
know.
more?
But Angel has submitted this question of that he saw theories about a potential Moore and Emery relationship.
And I stand that. I love it.
I do love it, but I don't think just because there's two girls that like girls that they belong together.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not saying they belong. I'm not
Yeah.
like, oh, they're mates. I'm like, I want to see that grow though.
Grow,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I agree with Paula. Like, just because they both like women does not mean like they need to be together, but the way that they can grow into something.
Yes.
Whether
Even if
it's
it's just a
or romantic-
friendship, I
Yeah.
just feel like seeing them together, like not necessarily like as a relationship, but like I want to see them hanging out.
Yeah. I want
And
the
like
same.
At Rita's?
chatting. And more coming and understanding their little friend group over there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
And
just
also
curious
just
too.
seeing Emery blossom into like having friends, right? Because of what she went through with her family and
mhm.
British men and all this stuff. She has like girlfriends, sisters, like
I love it.
yeah.
And I'm curious too about like more just being described as this I'm pretty sure in the second book when we first get introduced to Moore and Reese gives Feyre background information, like he doesn't he say like Moore is powerful, like she was born in the mountains in the night court shook or something.
She's very
And
powerful.
and we have like she hasn't demonstrated any
Well, and
of
he
it.
sent her off on a mission that she needed to do, but we don't know why.
I don't know, maybe hunting Briaxis. I don't know. It's all weird. Where's
I
Moore?
don't think that's what she's doing.
What
Where's
the
Moore?
hell was the creature that Moore saw in Valahan? No answers.
You're talking about the one at the end of Frost and Starlight where she sees in the forest
Mm-hmm.
in her little ranch
Yeah.
retreat. Yeah.
No answers. No answers.
No
No
answers.
answers there.
I don't think it's I don't think it's something we know yet. I think it's foreshadowing something coming in the future since we've been like, the war's coming, we need to
No wonder you guys
prepare.
like reread the books every time another book comes out because there's no way to remember all this stuff. I mean, there's some people that do remember it, but I
Yeah,
am
it's
not one of those people.
It's those little details. And like, what about Kosechi or
Koschei?
Koshi, Koshie,
Oshi.
Koshi? What about that guy? Like the guy, he's the warlock who cursed the queen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he was also was he manipulating
He's the
other
third
one?
sibling.
The third
Yeah.
sibling, yeah. So was he manipulating the other old appearing sister, or did she just partner with
I
him
don't
to try and get?
think so. I think
don't
they
think
just
he's
partnered
manipulating
for
her.
They're just
powers.
partnered, right?
They're like, hey, you want to partner up?
Hey, we don't like these people. Let's be friends.
Let's get them.
Our dear friend Angel over here really loves himself a theory.
Ooh.
I hate this theory so bad. I
I've
think
heard
it's
it.
all wrong.
Wait, hold on.
Let's see. Let's see.
Wait, what is it?
The theory about Tamlin and Amarantha being mates and him rejecting the bond. Hate it.
Ooh.
Angel.
Have you guys seen that? I saw it on.
I did. I saw it.
TikTok.
I
We
saw it
talked
on
about
the
it in
on the Fantasy Girls podcast.
Oh, I only saw it recently on TikTok.
I don't like it.
This is what I do now with my free time. All I do is watch ACOTAR reels, TikToks, and I listen to
All these
podcasts.
series. I don't like it, but they belong together.
Well, that's the wait. So you heard it right? Because the theory is that the reason he's all disheveled and everything is because he rejected the mating bond and essentially killed his mate, stuff like that. But he didn't seem too beat up about it in A Court of Mist and Fury.
Yeah,
So the only reason why I don't believe it is because he's so beat up about Farah, and they even mention like he can't find out she's pregnant. Like they're like so sensitive about how he feels about Farah, and I'm like, if he had another mate, would he be this like torn up over this girl? Like
This girl.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry.
So I have a question that Rudy asked. Rudy asked, would you want to see another book with Nesta as the lead?
I have a question for that question.
Wait. I want to hear Danny's answer before you ask a question to my question.
I love Nesta, but I don't think it's necessary depending on where the story goes. I would love that, like, occasionally, like, if we get some chapters from her, but I don't,
Okay.
I think we've seen her journey. If we're doing more with Nesta, like, to this extent, I would rather the book coming from Gwen or Emery.
I agree with that. Like,
And
we can,
their inner circle.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can see like the Valkyries, right?
Yes.
But I just feel like Nessa's arc and her story, it's good. We're good.
I think she'll be more involved, but I don't think we need her perspective for an entire book.
Okay.
I agree with that. Like, we can just like how we got Farah and Reese.
And that's coming from someone who loves her.
Yeah.
Angel, what was your question to
My
Rudy's
question was at the end it seemed like Nesta didn't lose her power. Well, she did, right? Didn't she lose her
She
powers?
gave it back.
She gave
Gave
it back.
right? That was
But
part of
they
her
let her
bargain.
keep some of it. Which is also the unknown.
Right.
Yeah.
And because that's the other thing too, is there's that
And
like
we'll
there's so
see
many
some of that in the
questions.
future.
Well, there's so
Oh,
many questions, right? We don't know.
there's
we
so
don't know
many
if there's-
things and she won't tell us.
She won't tell us anything. There's the fourth
I've already
item.
told you there's a
Ooh.
crossover. Like
Yeah.
you
Right.
guys already know there's a crossover of Crescent City and ACOTAR. Nesta is part of that crossover.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
So
too
we
much.
do get more Nesta.
So see, but Nesta, what was it? Which Dread Trove item allows you to travel between worlds? Is it the harp or
The harp, I
the
think,
harp, right? Yeah.
Well, the
said
harp was like the time turner.
Wait, was it the time turner?
Wasn't
the
it
20
like
string?
I can't answer
26
this question.
Oh yeah, each string does a different thing. Each
Yeah,
string
Rob.
does a different thing. That's right. That's right. Yes. So I don't
Because
know.
remember when the whole I'm gonna throw this in here because I spent the entire book thinking that Cassian was gonna die.
Me too. I was waiting for it. I was like, Elaine's a liar.
Book, every time he would get
y'all were
like
like, Cassian's gonna
Not
die,
my
I would,
man.
like, I turned off my
Not my man.
camera.
keep on reading. She was like, keep on reading. I spent the whole book because of Elaine's little premonition. I spent the whole book thinking anytime that when he got like, I don't know, taken by the queen or whatever, I was like, this is it. He's going to die. Or when he went like that he was like, oh, I'm going to slit your pretty little throat, that I was horrified. I was like, I can't believe this. And then he was like trying to like stab himself. Like, I was like, oh no, this cannot end like this. I was traumatized. I'm telling you, from chapter 58 to chapter 80, I cried every single chapter.
She sent me voice notes and she's like, look, no pressure, but I need you to read that right now.
On your last question, I will also add, I don't feel like we also need another book from Cassian unless something changes.
I agree.
Right. Like,
and these are characters I love, but like I feel like their arc has happened and we don't have a story from them, which is why I'm really leaning that Azriel and Elaine will be the next perspectives, because they are the story that we don't know.
And like, just because they are, like, let's say they are the next book, right? Az and Elaine. It doesn't mean they're going to end up the way the others did, like in love, and mates. It's just going to be a good perspective. And then I think we could get some perspective from Gwen, especially now that they're making this.
Well, with the Valkyries coming into play, that's now like with all the training. I personally want to know a lot more about the shadow singing.
Yes.
That is what I love about him. And his blue, what do they call them?
The siphons.
Siphons. I want to see them.
Like, I will tell you that in this book, my favorite chapter was chapter 58.
Let me go check that out.
Can you remind us?
Chapter 58 was winter solstice, basically. This is where I lost my cry count was obliterated. Okay. Azriel gave Nesta a gift. I cried.
Oh.
Red was in the box that was tossed into the Sidra. Cried. Cassian gave Nesta a gift. Cried. Cassian tells Nesta how he got the music. Cried. Nesta tells Cassian how she doesn't want the gift. Paula cried. I was like on and on. The whole chapter, I was like, I was Kiera Lewis crying. Okay,
when Ash gave her the little light so she could read, I was like,
it was so. It was, to me, even sweeter than Cassian's little music thing, because it was from Azriel, right? So it was like this person who's not in love with you, but loves you because you're his brother.
And doesn't know you as well, but knows you enough.
Yes, and I thought it was so
Azriel
sweet.
They had a few moments in this book, and there's even a moment where she like teases Cassian. And she's kind of talking about like, well, you don't look as good as... And she's kind of uses Azriel and she's kind of feeling him out, but she's not scared of him. And he's looking her right back in the eyes and he's like, oh, she's not intimidated by me. And I'm not intimidated by her. Maybe we can be friends.
Yeah, the moment he gave her that gift, I was like...
Yeah, I highlighted that. No. That was one of my highlights of that chapter. But yeah, that was a lot and it made me sad. I was like, oh my God, these two, if they both gave me a gift like that, I would just be crying. I'd be like, you know me so well.
What else? Let's see.
How do you guys feel about how they specifically talk about the little things that they get each other? Like, there's so much effort and love with this group.
I love how ugly Moore's gifts
Except for
are.
more, right? Except for
Yeah.
more.
No, but they know she's gonna do that. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, but the best part about that is that they are aware and they just go with it.
Yeah.
And I want to know, like, I want her perspective because in my head, we're going to get her perspective and it's going to be like her shopping and she's going to be like,
This is so perfect.
yes, like, but to me, I personally think she knowingly does it. And
Yeah.
she does it on
She's
purpose
shopping for
just to
Elaine and she
mess
finds
with
this
them.
fake plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's
like,
just the
"Look,
type
here's
of
a
person that I feel
highlighter."
like she does it knowingly.
Yeah, I do too. I could just see her being like, okay, that would actually be nice for them, but I'm gonna get them.
But hey, look at this painting
Yeah.
of fish. Like,
Yeah, I think that's what she does. And I love Farrah's gifts. And the way that she gets Cassian every time. Farrah's like, look, I'm gonna make you cry.
With her
She's
paintings.
yeah, I love it. I would love if someone drew me a portrait and gave it to me as a gift or like something that's meaningful, you know?
don't give me a portrait of me ever.
Not of me.
But it wasn't just of
That's what
him.
a
It wasn't of
portrait
him.
is.
It was
Of
of,
him, of
the
them.
three of them.
Yeah, of them. Yeah.
And
It
I
was
think
them.
that's what,
It was them reaching Ramiel, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So I
cool.
guess I have a picture of me and my friends that an artist did.
One of those caricature ones, or is
But
it a
that's
caricature
definitely
one, or
like
is
a
it
fan art that I want. I want like the painting that Farrah made of the three of them.
Yeah. Balthazar? Where the hell is he? I thought he was going to come back. He's the
Wait, hold
guy
on.
that
Can you
saves
remind me? Yeah.
Feyre, not Feyre, Nesta, that first night of the blood rite.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yes, I asked that question, right, Danny? Who's this character? It just disappeared.
Yeah, and the
I
fact that
thought he, I was like, they
I
gave
feel
him a
like he may
name.
be set up for the future.
yeah, and I have the quote here. He says, Farrah Cursebreaker would not forgive me for killing her sister. I'm like, and then he was gone the next day.
It is reminiscent of the girl they saved in the camp. I'm like, I think we might see them later,
The
but
girl
not
from Wings
yet
and
because
Ruin.
like having them just randomly appear doesn't make sense. But I feel like some of these characters that we've met are going to
It is weird because they gave him a name, right? Because like the people that were with Bellius, it was just the other six guys, you know, not Bellius, Lewis, Chinguito, and whatever. They were just the
And he
guys.
described him like they spoke about like how he looked. It wasn't just it was like he has dark hair. He knows a lot about them, you know, like
I think he'll come back into play later and possibly in relation to the now changes because they just lost half their people in the Illyrian camp.
Also, same thing, bringing on that character, like whatever happened to Alice in the summer court with Tarquin,
Oh,
right? Like,
I wish
Alice
we knew
was
more about Alice.
Like Alice totally helped Feyre all the time, and then she just
I don't think we're done with her yet. I just don't think we visited that court yet to because there's no smooth way to bring her back when we're hanging out at the House of Wind for an entire book.
That's true. She could have visited Helion or something.
I think in the next book we are going to be seeing more courts, and that's where some of these people are going to come into play.
Do you think we're going to get a war? Because can I tell you that when I got to the end of the book,
you're like,
when I got to the end of the book, I was like,
where's the war at?
Shit, where's the war?
Yeah, I think we're going to see more of the courts, and that's where some of these people will come into play because you can't just be like, we're at the House of Wind. Oh, hey, there's Alice. Like,
do you think Sarah J. Maas has the story planned out in her mind already? Like everything?
I think she has a timeline, like a time frame, maybe not like all the specifics, but I think she has plans for those people and for how it's going to play out. Most people do, like when they're writing a book, they kind of know where they want it to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think she like has an end, but she's just like, how do I get to what I want to see here? You know, like she has to build it up. But I'm excited, and I did miss Alice. I missed her, and when the war was happening, I was like, please
spare her.
Spare her and her. It was her nephew.
Her nephews, yeah.
Yeah.
And based on remember how you said what we wanted in the next book? Once I saw Sarah J. Maas's post, I actually thought it might be, even though I want a more perspective or another inner circle, I want more Night Court. I feel like I thought it might be Winter Court, and that who's Moore's girlfriend over in what's the name of Callius's wife? I forget.
The
Vivian?
one that was like, "You're high
Vivian?
lady." Yeah.
Vivian.
Yeah, you're High Lady. Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
nice, right? Like, I feel like I don't know why I felt it might be their story, but I was like, what's there really to explore in the Winter Court? I don't know. But I think it was because she was in the snow somewhere.
In the
I
mountains.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're going to explore and meet up with these people again based on going to visit the other courts.
I would love that. I just think the way they describe the courts and like all the people when we met all the high lords and different people from the courts, I wanted to like dive deeper into that, but obviously, the book is based on like specific characters. So I would love that.
Can we talk about how the two girls getting to the top of the Ramio, and there was like very little celebration?
Yeah, there wasn't, right?
What the hell? I was disappointed.
And they get like port keyed out, right? They get port keyed to someone
Yeah,
else.
I just think it was
Yeah.
because they were waiting for Nesta. They're like, where is she? She told us, like, they were just so concerned for her.
Here's
But they
one from
didn't.
Angel.
From Angel?
Did this book make you kind of hate Rise?
Oh yeah.
Reese, yeah.
Sorry.
No? Not some moments where I didn't understand like how, especially after he saw like Nesta, like her power, I guess, or whatever, her pure death, like the trauma that he was still acting like that bothered me a little bit. A lot of it, actually. I was like, dude, you saw it. It's not like she's not making this up.
And he was having Tamlin behavior with, shielding Feyre, and no, she can't know the truth.
I don't think
She
that's
couldn't know the
Tamlin
truth.
behavior, because it wasn't like she was like, you can't keep me trapped in here. She was
Well,
like, no, you could keep me trapped in here.
The way Nesta told Feyre about the baby having wings, I don't think was correct, but it's still like they were hiding it from her and she should have known. Like, that's very dishonest. That's very Tamlin behavior of Reese.
I'm not okay with hiding
I
information
honestly-
about what's going on in your own body.
Yeah, that was a little.
I don't know. I have this thing where like,
He was trying to be like the parent who's like, I didn't tell you for your better, because I wanted you to be okay. But it's like you can't hide.
I don't think he
things
wanted her to
out.
be okay. I think he wanted her to enjoy her pregnancy. And I'm talking about that from a perspective of somebody who had trouble getting pregnant. So I feel like he wanted her to enjoy that. That's what I felt it
I
was.
think
Do
he
I
wanted
feel
to
like
hide
that
it
he
until
could've-
until he had a solution for her, which I don't agree with his choices.
I also want to say that even though I'm glad that nobody died, I feel it's so weird that nobody died.
It
The
did seem
resolution
very-
is too
right.
simple.
That's what I was thinking too. I said,
That's why everything's going to happen in the next book.
I know,
I
right?
think it's a
Yeah,
build-
right. I'll spend the whole book thinking Cassian's gonna die, and then
Yeah, I
Reese
think it's a
dies for
build-up.
real.
everything
really
always
do.
happens too quickly, and it seemed all like really like nice, neat bow. You know what I mean? Like just too convenient, right? Like super convenient that Nesta made the coins and the bracelet so that they could find each other. It seemed all.
I think it's prep work. I
Yeah.
think like the convenience of some
You're
of
like-
these things and learning some of these things is prep work.
She was like, "I've been easy on you."
And now I'm gonna
Now,
break your heart.
Mwah!
And final question, which trove item? Angel said coolest, I'm going to say favorite. Is your favorite?
I'm
Hold
gonna.
on.
pick the
What do
harp.
they all do again?
I'm going with the harp.
The harp has different attributes based on each string, right? Or
Yeah.
a different degree of control.
Yes.
Right?
I think the harp was the coolest one.
But was it your favorite?
I don't know if I'd touch anything like that. I just want you to know. For me, I was like, "Girl, what are you doing?" I mean, if I was in a situation like where she was underwater, I would 100% try to save myself. I figured, whatever, if I turn out to be horrible, I mean, at least I didn't die. But I would never touch something like that. If somebody told me like this is evil, don't touch it, I'd be like, okay.
But were the dread trove items? And now I can't even remember. Were the dread trove items described as being evil or just being
No,
cauldron?
I think it's based on like who is in
Who
possession.
wields it,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
any other mythological item.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
I'm going
another
for
item
mine.
I like more, but you don't know it yet.
Oh, Danny,
Wait, are
you
we
can't
talking about
say
the
that.
fourth item? Wait, what book have you read that hasn't been that we
Danny
haven't
has read all the books.
So, so is that what is Danny implying that there is a fourth item in a different dimension realm in one of the other?
I don't
Dimension
know if
realm.
it's a fourth item, but there's an item that
Well, someone said, who was it that said, Nesta said, I feel a fourth item. She said when she was searching for it or whatever, she saw them and
And it was
there was
like
a fourth
blurred
one.
out, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it was blurred out. I can't even remember, but I
look,
know
Danny,
what
Danny
that-
leans towards. Look, she's hiding. She's hiding.
But Danny, do you like that item more than these three? Is that like your favorite?
that item gets more of a story, and I enjoy the story.
Oh,
So in other words,
Oh.
it doesn't have as cool as powers as the harp.
yeah, I'm gonna be playing that harp like.
I think it has cool powers, and they come into play. I think I like its powers more than the harp. The
What
harp
about the
seems
mask?
dangerous no matter whose hand it's in.
Do you like those mystery fourth items more than the mask powers?
Yeah, the mask's kind of creepy. Sorry, guys.
The mask creeps me out. I couldn't do it,
Also,
especially after the
Somebody
water.
stop me.
Exactly. Like the mask attributes are very similar to that movie where it can go either way depending on who has it in its possession.
Right. But what did the mask make? Like, it almost sounds like the mask made her immortal, though, because she was drowning with the Kelpie in the river pond, right? And when she put it on, she's like not drowning anymore, and suddenly she's coming out of the water, all crazy looking with her.
I think it
army
gave her
dead.
the power to be able to
Control the
escape.
dead, right? Like,
Yeah.
Right, but she was also drowning when she was kind of reaching for the mask or whatever,
well,
right?
she wasn't because that thing was making out with her, giving her.
Was it
air.
breathing in her? Oh,
No,
okay.
but didn't it like drag her back under?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And
But
it was
okay.
like pulling her.
And then
what's
the
the
mask
last one?
allowed
The
her
crown.
to like
Yeah. Get out of here.
the mask is just creepy, y'all.
Yeah.
It is creepy.
Mm,
It does look in the fan art though. It looks beautiful.
so creepy. I have a thing. Masks freak me out in general.
And I'm
Like that,
claustrophobic.
you're hiding
I'm
something.
claustrophobic. I don't want to be. Imagine all the other people that have
Yeah,
worn
I
that
can't do
mask.
those masks that go over your whole head. Like those things.
Mhm.
So you didn't like the first book at all because they were all wearing masks.
Yeah,
You
but
know that
in the
I had
first book, you
forgotten
can
that
forget
until
about
we
it. You can
discussed
easily
it.
like forget like that they're all wearing masks.
I forgot about it, to be
Yeah.
honest.
And then they're like the
Especially
mask removed. You're like, oh right, that was a thing.
You know what's
Yeah,
interesting is I wonder if there's some relationship to the maid mask, the cauldron dread trove, and the fact that Amarantha's curse was a mask. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if there's some sort of reason, magic there.
you're onto something.
You're on to that's why Danny hasn't been turning it off today, but she's been moving to the side. We
I
can't play
just know
poker with you, Danny.
When I read it, I was like, oh, so we have Deathly Hallows in here too? Okay. Check.
Check. Well, I said that.
Well, there's always mystical things. It's not just a Harry Potter thing. Like you have the Sword in the Stone and all those mystical items that, like, if you look into it, maybe the Sword of Gryffindor is actually like the Sword in the Stone from hundreds, thousands of years prior. You don't know.
You don't know.
And then
What
it's
you're
also
saying
the
is there's
sword.
no original ideas.
No, I'm saying all these items might be related.
Oh,
Is it also the sword in this story then? The one that was thrown in the ocean?
Maybe. But then again, it doesn't happen on Earth, so probably not.
you want to know something that I thought was weird? That the fourth part was called Ataraxia, but it doesn't come into.
Wait,
She
what do you
never gets the sword.
Is it like because of the
I think it
meaning
was
of the name, the word, or whatever? What was the meaning?
Right. It meant inner peace.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Yeah.
what she found.
I know, but I thought it was
the
weird.
sword. She found her own. Oh, I lost
She,
my
I
post-it.
don't need no sword.
I just love how when she told what's his name again in the cave?
Paula cried.
Balthazar?
That's all we
And
needed to
she
know.
told him the name of her.
What was that? What chapter was it?
76 and 77.
Oh, what
Okay.
happens in those? Wait, what happens in those chapters?
76.
When she uses the harp.
When she uses the
And
harp.
the sisterhood, her and Feyre, and yeah.
Oh, and she just heals everybody.
And then
She
the
said,
whole
I love
scene
you
with-
for the first time in her life. Yeah, but I was crying way before.
What I could have
Yeah.
done with Paula Cries is done this.
For those who can't see the pod, Danny just put the post-it
The
note
post-it on the whole book.
So on the last episode, which hasn't released yet, because you're like sitting here and I'm like, oh, we haven't explained what this is. We took bets on when Paula would cry in the book, and so they made me write a post-it note and put it in the book where I thought she would cry.
I
Where
bet
did
you
you
didn't
put
think
it?
I was going to cry in chapter 58, obviously.
I
Little
knew you were
shocking
gonna
during
cry in
that.
other places, but I knew those chapters, especially as like sister bonding and
Yeah.
the Rhysand, Nesta.
Don't cry, Angel. It's okay.
Yeah, this book made me
That
tear up. I
whole
felt bad for, like I'm telling you, I sympathized with Nesta. I felt for her, and I still don't like her.
That whole part in my head played like it was all happening in slow motion. She was like, "No,
Yes.
sister," and then he's screaming and crying, and someone's pulling him back. I was like, "This is too much."
But again, I will say I'm not an author, so I can't really I feel like some of the things get resolved too quickly. Like even in Wings and Ruin, when Rhys dies, I was devastated. I put my book down for 2 hours for nothing.
Find out he was
Because
alive.
literally
in
2
chapter
seconds, 2 sentences into the next chapter, twinkle droplets, like Angel calls them, and boom, he's back. And obviously I don't want him to die, right? But I feel like some of the stuff is getting resolved too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think obviously it works, right? Because Elaine talked about Cassian dying in the 3rd book, and still towards the end of this one, I was like, he's going to die.
But you know what, Paula? That just means maybe he still can.
I know. The fact
Right,
that it
like-
didn't happen is horrible.
Right. Like, I don't mean to say like, but I don't know. I feel like Elaine's power is like Trelawney. You have the grim, and Harry's perfectly
Yeah.
fine. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, because remember she saw the ravens and all that stuff, and it happened. That's when I got the fear.
yeah, that's true. No, I know, and I think so, but I don't know. I think
future.
I think it's subject to change.
How many
The
ravens
what?
did you see?
She saw 2.
Two.
She saw 2 ravens.
What is it,
and
the
was
white and the black one?
The king's people or whatever.
So,
But I was that's when I was like, oh shit, this is for real. Like she wasn't just talking crazy stuff. That's when I was like, Elaine, take back everything you said.
I don't know. She was still useless.
What do we think of the theory that because Nesta's power was based in death, that Elaine's is based in life?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna push back a little bit on that because I
Ooh.
mean, wasn't it Nesta that literally helped Feyre birth life? So, and you know,
She did, but her strength was still based out of like
The
Something
fear of
that
that
death.
magic.
happened.
Mhm.
Because the baby wasn't alive when he first came out.
That's true.
Because they talk about how he physically changed when his life was
Mhm.
brought back. So death was still involved. Like death was in the room with her or with them.
And
But
so was the power of the cauldron, which is where all their powers came from.
right. And where is that called? Well, except Feyre's, or you mean all power, like all of Prythian?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
essentially, yeah, everything is from the cauldron.
From the cauldron.
yeah.
Because she got her powers from the High Lords. Where does their power come from? But
Danny's like,
people have the theory that Elaine, because of her connection with flowers and not produce, and creating
That's Danny's
lives.
pain point. I think that's why she doesn't like Elaine. She's like, your family was starving, and instead of growing vegetables,
you couldn't have grown a
you grew
potato.
flowers.
You couldn't have grown a potato, Elaine.
I mean, same could be said for Nesta, though. Let's, you know.
Yeah, but Elaine had I'm not saying this because I like Nesta, but Elaine had a straight up skill that could have saved their lives. Like that she was good at doing. So
Well, yes, you couldn't have grown a potato, Elaine. Come on, girl. But I do agree with what Danny's saying. Like, she could be life, but like with a lot of things where you try and bring something back, there's always
It
a
doesn't come back the
sacrifice,
same. Yes.
or it
yeah.
doesn't come back the same.
I
Exactly.
don't necessarily think she can bring back life, but that her power could represent like life and light and the like be the opposite of like the death magic, which is very cold and dark.
Can we talk about the amount of bargains in this series?
All the deals.
Jesus, all the tattoos. I was like, my God, y'all are covered.
But they go away once you've met your bargain. You're good.
Yeah. That was my on chapter 77. I guess when she promises to like she'll give it back or whatever. And it said something like she gets like the tattoo or whatever. And I was like, yo, my comment in Fable was, yo, but another bargain? These people just be bargaining all the time.
I want to know what all these tattoos look like.
Yes,
right.
That's what I was gonna say. I love tattoos, and I want to see like we see the fan art, like what people depicted of, but I would love to see like
Sarah J. Maas's
her version of these tattoos, or like seeing.
I want to find her
happen.
secret Pinterest board and know what she has.
Yeah, I want to see them happen. Like when they shake or when the deal is made, like the tattoo like appearing on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tattoos in the face seem to be tattoos in fantasy seem to be a new trend because Fourth Wing has tattoos also.
Due to bargains, or you can't tell me.
Can't tell you.
Due to a similar kind of a bargain.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would consider it like a type of bargain.
Yeah.
It's not the same way, but I think it'd be kind of a deal of sorts.
I won't say anything because I always feel like once I start, I can't stop. But there's tattoos.
There's tattoos. Gotcha.
And those are described. Right? So we know kind of what those look like.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nesta and Cassian's bargain tattoo was described.
They are, but I want like to see them visually.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, right. It was described as like a star or
like a star with like long.
Right. Very twinkle
powers.
Twinkle droplets.
Twinkle droplets.
I think that's my favorite thing that came
All
out
right. Any last thoughts and overall thoughts now that you are as far as you can be in the ACOTAR portion of the Mossverse?
I just want to say I love the aspect of like a woman finding herself, like female empowerment throughout the story. I think it's important because we learn it on different levels. Like wherever you came from, you could be the poorest person or like the richest high fae, and there's still things that you have to deal with. And I just love the way that Sarah J. Maas like told these women's stories and how they became Valkyries. I love that.
I can't speak to the woman experience, obviously.
Thank you, Angel.
Sabrina.
Yes, and Sabrina can.
Yeah, clap for Angel. Clap for Angel.
But I do agree with Chanel that I like the whole story. And when we're talking about things in the future, looking at the perspective, the same way kind of Feyre and Rhys were kind of in the background of this Nesta Cassian story, I would expect to see Nesta Cassian, Gwen, or if we get a Gwen and Emery perspective. But I hope like seeing like Cassian was the teacher, right? And I hope to see them three being teachers of their own kind of group, right?
Well, and then all the other little scribes started joining too. Like they had a whole class.
Scribes?
Wrong book.
Wrong book. Yeah. What did they call them?
I don't know. Like that's why I was like
the priestesses.
They're priestesses, right? Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I'm just shocked that I finished the book.
I'm proud of us.
Super fast too.
Yeah, most of the people that listen to the pod know that this is like my first book series since Harry Potter. I've never really like enjoyed reading, but now that changed. I don't know if it's because of the book or because of the Kindle.
Maybe a bit of both.
maybe a little bit of both. I did have a hard time with the first book. I am waiting for the dramatized version of the first book so I can listen to it and like feel all the Rhysand things, knowing what I know now. I can't wait. But I really did enjoy it, and I'm glad that Danny pestered me.
Can I add one more thing too?
Yes.
I just wanted to add to that now that we're kind of done with this series, and then like just getting people like just the excitement around this book kind of spread out to so many people like on Instagram. And
Yes.
everybody else picked it up, and now like we're gonna do the Fable book with Throne of Glass and everything, and everybody jumping in now. I just think it's all. I think it's all.
There are
great. Beautiful.
51 people in the
54.
54
I just
in the
opened
Fable
it.
book club for Throne of Glass.
Because
I think it's beautiful.
my
Yeah,
next
I know
question
every
was
time somebody was like,
that.
"Oh, I picked this up because you picked it up and you were talking about it," and I was like, "Oh."
And I love the community around it. The fact that like some of us have never read the story, maybe we've heard of it, but like this is our first read. And then there's
Yeah.
people who have read it like 2, 3 times and they're like, oh, I've noticed these little details. And we're just all like on an equal playing field when it comes to the conversation or development of these topics. And that really makes me happy. So join the Fable. If you haven't joined it, join.
Yeah.
We kicked off as of April 15th for Throne of Glass. That means that we may be on to the second book by the time this releases, but feel free to jump in. We're going to leave all the book clubs open so you can go back and read those and comment with other people on that. My question for the three of you, since you all are either started or planning to start Throne of Glass, what are you excited for, and what are your thoughts, since we will be coming back as a podcast with Throne of Glass?
So like seeing a new heroine per se and like following her story and like the world building. I think that's very important for me. That's what got me in ACOTAR. That got me through a lot of the story was the world building and like the descriptive things. So I'm really excited for that and kind of piecing together this story to that in a way. Like I want to kind of like put bits and pieces together.
I can't wait for Danny to be able to confirm things. But I feel like it's going to be, if every book takes us a month, we're not going to know anything until next year.
I
don't think it'll take us a month, but
I don't think so either, because I just want you to know that I started today. Today is April 15th, by the way. And I'm already 11% through the book.
the first one is a shorter one.
Yeah. So, and it's very, without spoilers, obviously, it seems very, I wouldn't say action packed, but it
jumps right in.
Yeah, it's very active. There's like a lot of there's like banter, and there's like all this stuff already happening. It does not
and
have
there's
a slow
dresses.
Start. There's a dress. There was a quote. I put it in Fable. When you reach it, Chanel, you'll see it. I was triggered.
No pants.
Well, I don't know yet, but they mentioned dresses, and the person was like, dresses, like question mark on, like, it sounded like the person did not want to wear the dresses to me.
She didn't just put the comment in Fable knowing I would see it. She then texted me the same exact thing she put into the Fable about dresses.
I need to make sure she saw it, okay?
Yeah, we were passionate about the pants. Give her some.
Oh my God. That is like top tier moment in this series. Was when Feyre got pants.
Angel, you have not started Throne of Glass yet.
No, I'm starting it right after this podcast. I'm going to try and catch up to Paula.
So what are you thinking?
Where's Sabrina? Sabrina already started.
Sabrina started. We started. She was in the middle of another book. She's on chapter 3 because she only read it during her lunch break.
Okay.
But she's also going to start. She's trying to finish the book she's on now. She wants to get it out of the way, so that she can focus on Throne of Glass. Yeah, but she'll probably finish. She'll be done on like Thursday. Yeah. We'll see what she thinks. But I'm excited about, like, kind of like what Chanel said, learning about a new hero. I've heard from a lot of people that they love Throne of Glass more than ACOTAR.
ACOTAR. Yes.
I've heard that. And I'm really excited to find out why.
Yeah, same.
And I've heard too that, like, in one Instagram post I saw about reading the Mossverse, if you were interested, if you're a very like, if you like fantasy, then starting with Throne of Glass would be cool. But if you like romance, then starting with ACOTAR would be cool, right? And so I
And I
didn't
didn't
think
think
I
I
would.
fell into any of those categories.
Well, see, and I don't think I was a romance reader or like I don't like, but I liked ACOTAR a lot. So I guess I like romantasy. But
Yep.
but I'm really excited to see the Throne of Glass because I do like fantasy. So and I know that's more of that theme. So and I'm really excited to hear why everyone loves it so much more.
I have a question. What is the time frame? I know there's like no pressure to finish on like a certain time, but what's the time frame we're trying to keep up with? If we're starting on the 15th, are we checking in with each other or are we just kind of going until we're done?
Right now, our thought process was so we are not putting any pressure on anyone to finish or start. Paula and I personally have set a month time frame, but we think
For
we will finish
ourselves.
sooner. And since we are commenting in Fable, we'll kind of gauge like if only two of us are done in a few weeks, we'll wait it out. But like if a bunch of us have, we'll then move on. But we are not going to close out the book club so that those that are slower readers or just don't have as much time can finish and still be commenting. And I'll still keep checking comments on all of them.
Yeah,
So we'll
I get
actually-
notifications too. So I personally, like, even after I finished Silver Flames, I was still going back and typing in Trisha's book club, like responding to people and being like, oh my God. Like, and I think that that's the part that I like about it is that it didn't matter where everybody was. I could go back and either they could respond to something I typed or they could type their own thing and I could go back and respond to it. So yeah, that's like my favorite part of Fable. I don't have stock in Fable
yet.
yet, but I do love it.
Yeah. So right now we're looking at like a book a month. I think it'll be less than that, but we didn't want to cause any undue pressure because we want this to be an enjoyable experience where people get to meet each other and meet new people. We have people joining that none of us know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that.
So
And I've liked Fable. It's like a nice
it's essentially Instagram for books. Like it's
and it's a nice break from Instagram.
Some content
is you're just like talking about books or like you post something and somebody will be like, oh, I just read that, it's so great, or whatever,
well, because it's nice because there's so many times like when you're reading a book and something happens, like I know this happens to me because when a new book comes out, I am a fast reader and like I'll get something and I'm like, I need somebody to talk to about this so I can find my other fast readers by commenting in that chapter and be able to talk to people that previously I would have been like, I don't know who's here yet. Like, I have to wait because I don't want to spoil anything. But because Fable sets it up chapter by chapter, I can have those discussions and not forget about them.
And Danny, now that you brought that up, that was one thing about your earlier question about things we were excited about or nervous about, things like that. I am nervous about, I got to keep reminding myself because like if I get into it too, like I'll just want to keep reading. And oftentimes I think about like, we hear on the Pottergram, like, man, how we wish we would give anything to be able to read the Potter books for the first time. And we're doing it right now. And I think it's just like a big thing to think about. And that's why we're able to like document it and things like that. I think it's such a really cool place to be for a lot of us reading the Throne of Glass series for the first time.
There's scenes I'm like, I wish I could reread this for the first time again.
Yeah, that's what some other people have told me. They're like, Chanel, I like can't wait till you experience this because I wish I could experience it again.
I vividly remember where I cried in the Throne of Glass series.
Oh, you cried?
I cried and I messaged Nikki and Stina because I knew they were around the same part. And I was like, what is going on, y'all?
Feelings.
I cried at Bluey yesterday. I cried more than you think.
A lot of people cried at Bluey yesterday. I think I need to go watch it because on Instagram, the little bubbles where everybody had like crying in Bluey.
I've had emotional reactions to a lot of Bluey episodes.
Bluey's so
I don't
good.
have kids and I watch
Bluey. I wish that Bluey was a cartoon when I was a kid.
Yes.
Wait, is Bluey a TV show?
It's a cartoon.
Oh,
Or
okay.
preschoolers.
Yes.
Oh, is that
It's
the
like
thing with
Jude's
is that the
favorite.
one with
Jude
the
watches
dog?
it all the time.
Yeah,
Is that the one with the dog?
the Healer Family.
Okay.
You should watch it. It's my like anxiety show. Like if
It's
I'm
really
getting really
good.
stressed on work,
They talk
I'll put it
about
on in the
like
background.
adult topics in kid ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, I mean, it's so well
We've had
written.
discussions about like infertility, postpartum,
Miscarriage,
mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff like that. That is, and
And
it's just,
kids won't
it's
pick
well
up on it,
written.
but like if you're an adult watching it,
We're
you're
gonna
like,
turn this into a Bluey episode.
I will totally
100%.
do an episode on Bluey.
We should have Emily on to talk about Bluey.
You know, we all every generation has a blue dog that they must love.
True.
And this generation's is Bluey.
That's
All
funny.
right, let's shout out some socials so we can go to bed or read our books.
All
I
right.
think we had a great chat. I really enjoyed this series. I've told multiple people, I'm like, this is my new fandom. And I really enjoyed talking about it with all of you. And Fable has been a good like resource for that as well. But socials, my name's Chanel. My Instagram is fandomgyal, GYAL. And that's where you guys can find me. And I'm on Fable, same name. So you guys can touch base with me there and on Goodreads.
And my name's Angel, and I think I just realized I didn't say my pronouns at the beginning of the podcast, but they are he, him. So I'm sorry about that. And my Instagram handle is Wizard of Main Street. And it's also Twitch and all that other stuff. But I'm reading right now, and I have to borrow Sabrina's iPad to use Fable because my phone is an iPhone 7, and apparently it does not allow Fable. So just in case, you might need a newer version of a device to be on Fable. Just FYI.
I just want to say that I think this is the first time I've been on with 3 Ravenclaws.
I've been on with many Hufflepuffs
Yeah.
many times.
I was just thinking, oh my God, they're all Ravenclaws. Anyway, I'm Paula. I'm co-host of Creating Magic. You can find me obviously on Creating Magic Podcast, at Unconceivable on Instagram. On Fable, I am Paulita's World. And I'm missing something. More Than Favors if you want budgeting and planner tips. And that's it. Threads. Oh my God, Threads. Unconceivable on Threads. Danny?
And you can find me at Mandrakes and Mischief. On the podcast things, TikTok, Instagram is Creating Magic Podcast. On Pinterest, we are Creating Magic Podcast, so you can see all of our little fandom fits we've been creating.
Yes.
We are now on LTK, which allows you to actually shop the fits we create. We don't have all of them up yet. I'm still waiting on some pending things. And then on Fable, it's Creating Magic. Just so you are aware, I've debated with myself about this one, is if I need to create an account for myself. But right now on Creating Magic, I am the one speaking, and all thoughts and opinions are Danny's and not Paula's. Just because I don't know if I'm ready to juggle 2 accounts on another account.
2 accounts. Yeah.
So I'm working on that because I also want to track my books, but at the same time, I don't want to track my books as the podcast. So,
Do you have an iPad?
mm-hmm.
Why don't you sign in as yourself on the
That's
iPad?
a good point. That's a good point.
Just
I'm
saying.
gonna put the podcast on that.
Just so you could track your books.
Yeah.
Or
So-
just use Goodreads for that. Just keep
Ew.
that for
well,
Goodreads.
because then you can't like post things, and everyone's kind of moved over to Fable a bit.
I know.
So
I converted some people. I'm very proud of myself.
Mhm. Yeah. We've gotten quite a crew. There's more interaction happening on Fable than I've ever had on my Goodreads, and I've had my Goodreads for well over a decade. Until next time,
Keep creating.
bye.
Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.